The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is All Things Elite. Welcome back to All Things Elite. Load up the pod, man, it's on when we speak. Rich right here, let me warm it up for Austin and Floyd. Couldn't be no one but the boys. When it come to All Things Elite from the fan perspective, swear, man, it ain't no question. Hear from them first. Swear, man, they putting in the work. No, they had to get me for the verse. Social Suplex Network's on. Hours at a time in your headphones. Austin and Floyd on the microphone. Backing out on the ring, getting in the zone. Pulling up the show, give it 7 stars, you already know. Who else could it be but the show with the proclivity for positivity? I'm gone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 271st episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with a proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. My name is Austin Somewhat. I am the host of this lovely show, and joining with me, as always, is my good buddy and friend, Mr. Floyd Johnson Jr. My man, how you doing coming back from L.A.?
I am doing great. This was exponentially a better trip to L.A., but I want to start this show with a small public service announcement. And it's actually two. First of all, I use Twitter. I use my mutant block function pretty liberally on Twitter to have a nice, timeline full of, differing opinions and all that stuff, and it's great. But there are certain people I have blocked. I don't mind saying their names. JD from New York, Bully Ray, blah, blah, blah. Just people that just spill nonsense to try to get people to react. Well, this thing, and it's by no means new, but it is catching me and annoying me most, is people go to Bully Ray and they go to JD from New York, they screenshot what they say, and then post the screenshot, and then go off on the people. And I have to see what they think. Like, you should use social media whatever way you want to, but that is literally doing that screenshotting thing. It's getting around my filter. I have to see this shit I don't want to see. So it's very annoying for me. Very annoying for me. So I have to start taking to muting and blocking. I have to take it from muting and blocking other people. Muting and blocking people that do that so I don't have to see the first. And let me say this. 90% of the things they post I want to see. But I have to mute and block their whole account because they can't stop this stupid-ass practice.
Well, at this point, for a lot of those people, specifically JD as well, I don't even know why people bother. If you're getting into arguments with the guy, I mean, it's, you're not changing. He's very, and you're playing into what he wants to. I feel like in a lot of aspects. So, I mean, at this point, guys, listen, it's a losing battle. It's not worth your time. Use it towards something way more helpful to your mental health and not engaging in any of it because, I mean, dude just screams into the void about absolute nonsense. So,
yes.
So, besides that, though, you had a lovely time in L.A. for AEW Revolution, I know.
Yes. It was an amazing time. It was only 24 hours. I think that's the thing. I only can take 24 hours of LA. I got in. Flight gets there early. Which is awesome. We get there. Car rental goes off without a hitch. Pick up JR right where we said he's going to pick him up at the airport. Got in the hotel. Was afraid the hotel might not be ready yet. Was ready. We got checked in. We went and ate Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles first. I forgot about that. Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Again, it was great to say I ate at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, but Oklahoma is not the South. But it's South adjacent. We like the South. Yeah. We're the South's cousin. So I went and had the chicken and waffles, and all I could think is, literally, I can get better fried chicken anywhere in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Anywhere. And it's like, this is California fried chicken. Maybe they're trying to make it healthy or whatever. But it was just like, it was fine. But the waffle was really good. The syrup was really good. Don't get me wrong. I'm like, you still should go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. So it's a part of the LA experience. I enjoyed it, but it was just like, I just kind of shrugged my shoulder and it's like, And so, then we went and got a nap. Got a picture in front of the Kobe Bryant statue. Got a picture in front of the Shaq statue.
And may I say, you picked the worst time to get a picture in front of the Shaq statue. Because did you see what this man was saying on NBA on TNT?
About what?
Inside the NBA? He was talking about the Detroit Pistons a full 2 weeks after on his own podcast he said, man, the Pistons are boring. I don't want to talk about them. They're 4 games under 500. Whereas at the time we were 6 games over 500 because the guy doesn't know math. He then proceeds to talk about the Pistons, and he goes, yeah, the Pistons are doing great. Chauncey's doing a hell of a job coaching them. My favorite player is Isaiah Stewart. And then the main person's like, wait, double back. I can't let that stand. Chauncey is the coach? He's like, yeah, Chauncey coaches. And it's like, no, it's JB Bickerstaff. And he's like, I don't even watch the Pistons. Boo-boo. So you get called out for being a dumbass and not knowing your information, even though you're a public broadcaster, and this is your job to cover the NBA. It's literally your only job. And then you double down and be like, well, I don't watch them, so cry about it. I'm just like, okay, brother. I see that someone's a little still butthurt about my Detroit Pistons knocking your bum ass out of the Lakers and then became Mr. Fruity Pebble with all the jersey colors you wore and never winning an NBA Finals after that. So, ooh, bad. Kobe still won one, though. I know that fact. I know that was a thing, though. Sorry, I was butthurt about that very much so when that happened because I was just like, can y'all keep my city out of your mouth? Y'all just want to go off and act like, listen,
no.
Are my Pistons going to be champions this year? No, but they have one of the best turnarounds in NBA history from going from literally 13 or 14 wins last year to now. We're going to well over triple that by the end of this year.
I am never the one to defend ESPN, but I can say this about the ESPN analysts. Before they talk about something, they usually have watched the game.
Yeah.
I know Charles Barkley went off on ESPN and hating them.
Oh, yeah. And how are you going to do that? Your co-host literally goes off on ESPN for their bad coverage of the NBA, and then you have even worse coverage saying that I don't watch the games.
Yeah, so, yeah, I was like, that was a bad look on you, Chuck, because it's like, how are you going to comment and not watch the games? But I imagine a lot of people comment and not watch the games. I have friends that tell me stuff about football, and I'll be like, so have you watched them play? And they'd be like, no. And I'm like, how do you have an opinion?
But at least they don't get paid to talk about that product.
Even tonight, and I'm calling you out, Dave, because I know you're not listening to it. Dave was like, oh, we're getting Vox and Cope again? I was like, so I started talking about the show and how they set it up. He's like, well, I didn't watch the show. I had my kids. Why are you talking about the show? Good Lord. You don't understand. He knows that's a pet peeve of mine.
Absolutely.
It's not like this is like, oh, you call somebody that doesn't know you. He knows when you comment on something you didn't watch yourself, that literally pisses me off. Mm-hmm. That is like my trigger. I'm like, so you're basing it on what other people have said about the situation.
Don't speak about something you don't know.
Unless you personally experienced it. So, you got a picture in front of Mr. Icy Hot statue. Cool. Like, that guy's maybe you can just stick to selling that instead of talking about the NBA. Clearly, the brother doesn't care. I know he hurt your feelings, but Shaq has always been one of my favorite players and personalities ever because it's like the dude is so smart and he's like so entrepreneurial and all that stuff. He's just like the guy that he's a guy that I would listen to and actually take advice from. But then he says stuff like that. I'm like, you do know you're getting paid a lot of money to do what you do. Mm-hmm. So before you say you don't want to talk about the Pistons or anything, know the record. That's a minimum. That's a minimum. That's on ESPN.com, right? Not a hard thing. Not a hard thing to do. And know who the coach is, right? It's like I'm not asking for you to do deep research. But if you're gonna speak on something, at least have a base knowledge of what it is. Know the record and know who their coach is. It's not. Yeah. Yeah, and he'd be like, man, Ben Wallace isn't stepping up defensively right now.
Yeah. Brother, his name, as I said, yeah, he's not on the team.
He's not on the team. He's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he hasn't played in a long time.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He hasn't played in a long time, but,
But either way, I was getting off topic on that, though. So
No, actually, that was pretty amusing because I didn't know that happened.
I'll send you the video, brother. It pissed me the fuck off.
Well, I heard that part. But, yes, and the other thing people do, the other thing that annoys me, again, y'all are gonna listen, skip past this, whatever you're gonna do, but I'm still gonna say it because you're probably not the people that do it. So I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky. If you've noticed, I post from both, right? And I generally try to make the post different, try to engage a different group on Blue Sky than I do on Twitter or whatever. Well, on Blue Sky, you have this thing where I thought we ran away to Blue Sky from Twitter because we couldn't stand Twitter.
Right.
And then you have people screenshotting Twitter and posting it on Blue Sky. So tonight, Bully Ray won. And when we get to the segment, I'm going to read what he said. And I'm just going to let you know, he won. Because all you're doing is talking about this man. Like, I have seen so many posts about Bully Ray's comments about AEW where they say they don't care what Bully Ray thinks. The moment you screenshot, retweet, quote tweet, blah, 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 you care about what he says.
Mm-hmm.
You took time out of your day to screenshot, quote, like, whatever you want to do, and then talk about not caring about it. You know how I show I don't care about it?
By not talking about it.
By not reacting to it at all. Like or love is not countered by hate. It is countered by apathy. I don't care what you say. You were entertaining for a little while in your career. I enjoy you. Shit, I would do your meet and greet for you. But I do not give a fuck what you think about modern wrestling. I'm going to show you that by not replying to it, liking it, tweeting it, quote tweeting it, anything. Just have your day. But he won. He won. I've seen like 100 tweets about what this man said on my page where he is muted. So people are screenshotting and blasting this stuff, so forcing me to see something I don't want to see.
Yep.
I love you all, but quit doing it, please. I know no one's going to quit doing it. No one listening to the show probably does it, but you've seen it, and it's fucking annoying.
Yeah, basically. So, but on that note, I know we've had a bit of a longer intro than normal. We got a lot to talk about because, of course, AEW Revolution concluded this weekend. We just are recording after the Dynamite after Revolution just went off the air. So we got a lot to get into on this show. We're going to go as quickly as we can. It may be a longer episode than normal, but regardless, real quick, if you guys enjoy the show, which we appreciate it, please continue to support the show. You can do it in a multitude of ways. Continue to turn automatic downloads on and download this fine show on YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you choose to listen to us on. Share us around with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. Rate, review, subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And then follow us on Twitter at AT Elite Pod. You can also follow at Social Suplex, who make this show possible, and check out all the other shows they have on their network. I am at Austin Sumowitz, SZUMOWICZ. I literally just forgot how to spell my own last name. And Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. And the big news of the week has to do with the huge announcement going into Dynamite tonight, which was the International Title Eliminator Tournament, which would be happening leading up to AEW Dynasty. So we have a tournament to find out who would face the international champion at AEW Dynasty. So a lot of exciting things leading up to all the matches in this tournament, as well as the fact that they announced that there would be a wild card in the tournament that would be revealed on the episode of Dynamite that would be taking place tonight.
Yes, and we got a lot of predictions on the wild card. I was online on the Social Suplex Discord. If you're not, make sure you join it. The link's in our show notes every time. But if you're in the Social Suplex, so the prevailing guesses were Speedball Mike Bailey and Josh Alexander. And I think I was I was leading that Josh Alexander charge. But Speedball Mike Bailey was very high on everybody's list. So we will talk about what exactly happened after we cover Revolution.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and get into our review of Revolution. Real quickly, blowing through the 0 hour stuff. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed seeing the TNT champion Daniel Garcia on the show, at least in this form. And that was cool. The big boom AJ stuff and all that, honestly, kind of did nothing for me because it wasn't made for me. Honestly, like this was one of the more relatively forgettable 0 hours, at least for me. I think there were some good wrestlings in there. And obviously the guys from the Costco boys, they got great reactions. I will tell you that. But yeah, it just wasn't necessarily anything that stepped up from me personally. But it was got some good reactions throughout the 0 hour, I will say. 4 matches for 0 hour though was wild. Just there was a lot there. So Floyd, did you want to touch on any of these?
Okay, so went with JR. JR got us some seats in the picked us some seats in the suites. I feel like I should bitch about to SeatGeek because their map on SeatGeek was flipped. So he thought we were on the complete other side. When we went and looked at the other map on Access, we're like necessarily behind the stage. So, okay. So we're above the 100 section and we're behind the stage. So I wasn't a big fan of the seat at first.
Mm-hmm.
But it ended up having an unintentional benefit because of where I'm at, right? And there's only like 8 people in the suite or 10 people in the suite. I don't know. Like the way you're sitting at it, you have to concentrate on the ring really hard to make sure you're seeing everything. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't like that. I couldn't see the stage. Won't sit in the section again. But it actually made me pay way more attention to the wrestling. So it was like the drummer. I didn't even know where the drummer was. That was later in the show. I didn't even know where he was. I never saw him. That, yeah. I heard him, but I never saw him. So it is what it is. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you're good, man.
When I was sitting there thinking I was watching, I was like, I'm watching 0 hour. Let's be real. Yeah, the Costco guys, not for me. 100% not for me. They got a loud pop. They seem to enjoy the match. AJ, Big Justice AJ, that's his name. Or whatever, AJ Big Justice.
Boom AJ.
Know, Big Boom AJ, whatever. I don't know. It's like one of those things. We were just talking about bad coverage. I don't care about the Costco guys. So I'm not going to say...
We've been very upfront on that.
I'm not saying anything negative about them. They existed. Everybody seemed to have a good time. Great. Adam Cole got on TV. That was cool. That 4-way with Daniel Garcia and Adam Cole kind of staring at each other. Is Adam Cole, like, is his thing that he has to be in these relationships where they're kind of friends and kind of enemies? Because him and Daniel Garcia feels like
a little bit.
Yeah, like on the lines of the MJF thing. Why can't he just hate Daniel Garcia and Daniel Garcia hate him and then they fight for the title?
Yeah, why can't they just have a TNT title match? It seems more simple doing it that way because I feel like what you have right now is way too complicated for that title and everything that's happening involving there. Like I said, I enjoy Daniel Garcia as TNT champion, like, in general. Like, that's my dude. That dude I became best friends with on the Jericho Cruise. But, I mean, man, it just seems so complicated what we're doing around that. It just seems like, just have Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia fight each other for the TNT championship and then you're good.
Yeah. I don't like you don't like me. I think I'm better than you, blah, blah, blah. I like that they, like I said, I like that they went to with the trios and stuff for Adam Cole because if you look at him, he seems more comfortable than he was in November, right? Just like he moves better. It looks more fluid. The match with Garcia on Collision was good, even though we didn't get a result. It was good. So it's just like, why can't y'all just fight? You know what I mean? So
Right.
But I enjoyed the match. I don't enjoy Shane Taylor Promotions losing. They shouldn't.
Unfortunately, yeah.
It is what it is. The Jericho thing was awesome. I was like, Jericho.
Yeah, stealing Gravity's mask.
Dude, Jericho should not be wrestling on a pre-show, and he proved it. I'm not wrestling on this shit. And just hit him in the face with a bat. And that's pretty cool. And yeah, I really like that and take the mask off. I mean, it obviously has to lead to me, in my opinion. It has to lead to a Chris Jericho mask versus belt match. Maybe at Supercard. We'll see. Something else that genuinely confused me. Will Hobbs actually has a problem with the learning tree. Did not come out to help Gravity and Bandito.
Gravity didn't really have many friends that night.
Gravity and Bandito, who he literally tagged with Bandito the week before. He didn't come help. But
yeah,
the Big Justice and Big Boom AJ, that dude comes out and throws a spine buster for, which I really didn't think he had anything to do with that group. It's very confusing with Hobbs, because 1 second he's feuding with the Learning Tree, 1 second he's feuding with the Don Callis family. So I know you can be mad at more than one person at a time, but wrestling tends to be a little more simple than that. Just be pissed at one guy and go after him.
Right. And it's just like, regardless, like, it's nice seeing Hobbs getting a lot of TV time right now. I would just like a little bit more consistency. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like when Will Hobbs is pissed. Just pick somebody. Power on them. Yeah, whatever you want to do. So, I did, but I thought the pre-show, the 0 hour was good. It wasn't great. It was good. I like that they're building something towards QT and Paul Walter Hauser. I don't necessarily have any feelings, negative or positive, towards Paul Walter Hauser, except I love how much that man loves wrestling. And I will support him, and I will be like, put him on TV because of how much he loves wrestling. This guy is an award-winning, Golden Globe award-winning actor. He could be getting booked all the time, all that stuff. But in his free time, he just loves to be around wrestling. I'm gonna always support that.
Yeah.
Him, Ron Funches, Brad Williams. Every time they're in LA, Dr. Ken's there. All the celebrities are there. But these aren't just people that's like, oh, I got a free seat. Those are people that literally show up to the shows every time AEW is in town.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to all of them.
Yeah, that was shout out to those guys for their love of pro wrestling. We respect that here. So we can go ahead and get into the main show, which, like I said, 0 hour for the most part. Didn't really have many thoughts on, but the show opened with a bang of a first match, I will say. MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. Man, so glad that this is where we went with, instead of, MJF feuding with Jeff Jarrett. So glad that we pivoted. This match slapped. Hangman just was rifling shots all match long against MJF. MJF proceeded to throw his groin in Hangman's face after hitting the ropes multiple times. The beautiful counter to the Heat Seeker that went into a buckshot lariat, which was great. I loved how Hangman goes to do the moonsault off of the barricade. He gets caught and then turns it into a tombstone, which then gets turned into a tombstone from MJF onto a sitting chair, which looked vicious, absolutely vicious. And Hangman screaming during the match, why you, why not me? Basically, the mask slips, where he pretends he doesn't care what people think about him, but he cares so much, and he's emotional, and he's crashing out, and it's beautiful character work from MJF. He spits in the face of Hangman, and then Hangman hits what might be the most vicious Angel's Wings I've ever seen. MJF got dropped on his fucking head with that shit. Like, it looked absolutely vicious to the point where, honestly, when they set it up for the buckshot lariat, you could have finished him with the Angel's Wings, and I think it would have worked perfectly. But he goes and sets him up for the buckshot lariat and gets the win over MJF. Huge win for Hangman. Awesome opening match. Like, this show kind of set the tone for what most of this pay-per-view was going to be the entire way through. Like, they opened up and it crushed.
I'm going to tell you right now, when they talk about this show, I'm going to glaze over anything I don't like.
Yeah.
Because this show was, to me, as Will Ospreay says, on another level. So, that being said, this match was amazing. Like, when you say starting off this match, you start off with a match that on a lot of different nights would be the best match of the night.
Oh, yeah.
So you start off with this, and it's aggressive, it's intense, and I even say it felt like a first match. It didn't feel like, oh, this is it. This feels like this is going to come back. It was great. I thought MJF was going to win, but Hangman pulled it out and just won with that buckshot lariat. 1, 2, 3. I thought this was amazing. I thought the match was great. And the fact is, you feel like, if you're watching this match, they have more where that came from. They have another level they could have took it to, but they was like, this is the first match of this section of feuding. This is the first match. This is the first time. We're going to give them something, but we're not going to give them everything, and it was great.
Yeah, 1,000%. You knew that there was a point where, when these guys get after it again, it's going to be insane. And if this is the first time we're getting this, can't wait to see what else we get. We move in next to the TBS Championship match between the CEO Mercedes Moné and Momo Watanabe. This was a good match, but one spot I feel like set up, like stood above the rest, which was a point where Momo Watanabe is striking Mercedes with some leg strikes. There's a point where she kicks Mercedes almost in the throat, like it looked like. She caught her, and it just absolutely ripped Mercedes, and she kind of went back after a bit. There were some great transitions in this. I thought it was pretty solid. Momo in some points had a little bit of trouble getting connections, I feel like, with the audience, and I think because of how strong the opener was, maybe there was a little bit of the air coming out a little bit. And obviously the crowd liked Momo, but obviously, not too familiar with her. But Mercedes, I thought, wrestled really well in this. Momo had some good, nice little follow-up. It wasn't at the same level, but it was a solid TBS Championship match, which we knew was going to be a nice in-between defense for Mercedes Moné. But yeah, that kick to the throat looked like it sucked.
It did look like it sucked. It was a very physical match. If you ever hear from Dr. Joshi, or as some people call him, James Boyd on One Nation Radio, who he knows all about the Joshi wrestling. He's like, yeah, she wasn't even doing it as hard as she could. And I was like, what? I was like, yeah, if I had more time in my life, Stardom would be something that I add. I just don't. Yeah. But I thought this match was explosive. I think Momo, if she came to America, which I don't even think that's an option. I don't know what's an option. And they really put some energy behind her and how hard-hitting she is, I think there would have been more. But the reaction this match got, even though 80% of the audience didn't know who Momo was still amazing. It was just a banger, a Mercedes Moné challenger of the month. Nothing wrong with it. Good match. Perfect spot. I'm going to tell you on this show, except for 2 matches, I feel like this was placed perfectly on this show as far as how the matches went, how it built to the next spot and all that stuff was great, but I have strong feelings on what should have main evented.
Oh, you and me both. You and me both. We move in next to the world title number one contenders match between Swerve Strickland and Ricochet. Yeah, this was another one on a just huge performance. And Swerve and Ricochet, man, did such great work in this. And I just remember the image specifically at the end of this match where, like, Swerve gets the win, and this was just near fall in this match. But Swerve gets the win at the end, hugs Nana as he returns the robe back to him. Nana puts the robe on Swerve and then starts hitting his dance, and I can just see the entire crowd just hitting the moves with Nana in sync, and it was just a beautiful image. These two guys just proceeded to just really, really do great work in this match. I loved the heel work Ricochet was doing. I thought he was really doing great. There's a point where it seemed like Nana was going to act like they kind of set up this idea that Nana might kind of leave Swerve, and Swerve was getting Nana was getting put basically in the line of fire in this entire match. I loved how that was being done though, and yeah, this match, like, it feels crazy how early on it was, because it was another match where if it was the only, like, if it was on any other card, it would have been match of the night. But yeah, this was just really well done between those guys, and it set up a real big exciting moment for the end of the show, and it set up just the fact of Swerve getting back in the world title picture. And Ricochet, again, man, that dude is wrestling his ass off, and even though his character is definitely hated, I think it's the right kind of hated, though, and I like what Ricochet
it is. He never tries to go too far. He pushes the envelope right to where it should be. He's not over the top in the way that MJF is, or someone like that. And MJF works for him, but I'm just saying he has found his level, his a bad guy, and he does it perfectly in this match. The story of the match. It was like the number one contender being up was the Piece de la Resistance, because you had already built the heat with Nana and Swerve, which is probably the most beloved act in AEW as far as two people together. You know what I mean? It's like Swerve works because of Nana, Nana works because of Swerve. The yin and yang. Swerve is cool at almost every point. Nana's dancing. Swerve wants to make everything personal. Nana's about keeping everything business. It works. And in this case, where it comes to head, because that robe, even though it is business, it is very personal to Swerve. Nana.
Yeah.
He was like, him making it personal is why he thinks Ricochet went after the jacket. And he's like, dude, you gotta respect the jacket. I don't give this jacket to everybody. And I get that. And I was just like, they added that level. And if it was just about him getting the jacket back, this match would be great. Then they add the number one contender stipulation. So there was just enough stakes in this match to make it important, even though it was coming on early in the night. So that was brilliant. Nana leaving during the middle of the match, trying to steal the jacket back from the miscommunication. It had me believing he was about to turn on Swerve. I was right there.
I was going to say, like, it looked like that was going to be the case.
Yeah, especially when he came back out. I was like, oh, he's coming to take Ricochet's side. They didn't. Swerve wins. I got to talk about the transition. The reverse, the powerbomb into the power slam. One of my favorite transitions of the night. I'm not going to remember all because there were some great transitions in the match. This was like a transition show. They found very creative ways to get into stuff that we expect in this show. And I thought this was amazing. Swerve wins, and he didn't win. He hit the kick twice. He hit the stomach. I mean, it took a lot to keep Ricochet down, which it should with this much meaning on the match. But Swerve gets it, and everybody's dancing. That pop when he won it, you thought he won the world title. Everybody's swerving when they drive. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I might get canceled for this. Okay, I'm a pre-warning. Brad Williams doing the Nana dance. It's the funniest thing in the fucking world.
Yeah. See, I just remember that dude when he was on the cruise and he was twerking on the cruise with Thunder Rosa. That was an image that I did not expect to see ever in my entire life. So that dude is a riot.
He was up on his chair, like, you know.
Yes,
and he's Brad Williams, so it's okay. And it's just like, dude, that dude is fucking hilarious. I fucking love his comedian. Comedian. I mean, I fucking love his comedy. He's a great comedian is what the sentences that got mixed up there right there.
Right,
I just thought that was so cool. Everybody's having fun. But the MVP of this match was not Nana. Was not Swerve. Was not Ricochet. It was, as her name says on Twitter, Big Les Dog. What's her name? Leslie what?
Shit. I can't remember, unfortunately.
Oh, God damn it. Leslie Jones. Her last name.
Oh, yeah, Leslie Jones. Yes.
She was fucking amazing.
Yes. She's the way I want all celebrities to act at wrestling. This girl was losing her mind in the front row.
MV motherfucking P.
Yes.
I a Leslie Jones fan for life. If she is not in the first row of every AEW pay-per-view, dude, if I was TK, I'm flying her to the show and putting her in the first row of every Swerve match. Because guess what? She did not let anyone not be hyped for that match. I'm not saying...
People saw how hyped she was getting and then feeding off of her energy.
And they, up in the suites where I am, her energy got everybody else hyped for the match. Yes. She was amazing. She helped get Ricochet over as a heel because she hated that man. That dude couldn't do nothing. And it was awesome. Then he had that moment with Ken, and it was like, dude, I mean, for real, in a lot of ways. We had a lot more show, so I'm going to move on. But it felt like the main event because of how much they were in there. You had a Laker Hall of Famer, Michael Cooper. I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, is that Michael Cooper?
Yeah, you were losing your mind a bit with all the celebrities that were in attendance.
Yes, and I was a little annoyed because you know where I usually sit.
Oh, I know where you usually sit. And you wanted to be down there.
I wanted to be down there so much. Like, the numbers I saw before the show feel like nothing because I would have got to meet all those people. Well, at least, you know, been in the vicinity. I'm not really a go up to a person doing the show person. Never been that way. But, you know, what if my seat was next to one of them or whatever? I don't know. But, no, it was just like star-studded. And it was like one of the few shows I agreed not to sit up close. I was like, okay, we're going to sit up here.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine. And yeah. So.
Yeah. The only thing I will say was the one point where Swerve shoved Nana on the outside when he was kicking Ricochet against the LED boards, like in the barricade. Why did Nana go up being like, hey, man, I think he's had enough? Like,
no,
Nana.
No, see, that was the whole thing. It was for the number one contender, right? So he's trying to tell them to get in the ring and just win.
That's okay. You know what? Fair enough.
Yeah, he's trying to tell them to get in the ring and just win. And Swerve didn't know who was there, so he just pushed. He had no idea it was Nana.
I know for sure it was like, because at the same time, he wants his robe back, but he also wants Swerve to get back in the title picture. I get that there. But at some point, it's like...
His focus has been like, he's like, Swerve, make it about business. Stop making it personal. You know, that kind of thing. So,
but he also said he wanted him to be the most dangerous man in AEW again. So, you know, you got to pick one or the other.
Yes, I agree.
So, we then moved on to the Continental Championship match between Kazuchika Okada and Brody King. Good match. This one, kind of like, this was kind of the start of like a little bit of the period where there was just like a bit of like, this was the breather moment. Because after this and the next match, there was no room to breathe in the entire show. These two matches kind of feel like they could have been used to split up like certain points of the show. Like one of these matches I would have moved up in between one of the other matches just to give some breathing room, I felt like. I say that, but like, you know,
There was no breathing room in this show.
I say that like there was any breathing room in this show. But I thought this was a good match. I liked how Okada was able to just really kind of just survive almost, because Brody looked like at multiple points he had Okada like dead to rights. Just the way he was able to just use his size as to its advantage. It was good. It definitely leads to the point where, like, you know, the Continental Championship unfortunately just feels kind of floating in there. Like, it just is there to have Okada be a champion and, you know, because of the Continental Classic.
Yes.
But it just unfortunately just feels like it's...
Okada and Mercedes both need feuds.
Yes, correct.
Because this challenger of the month thing ain't working. It looks like it's building something on Mercedes' side.
Not so much for Okada.
Not so much for Okada. And I'm going to be 100% real on this. I'm not going to Charles Barkley the situation. This match was 10 minutes and 55 seconds long. I started paying attention about 10 minutes in. I saw like the last 55 seconds. And then he just won, and I felt like there was no reason to go back and watch what I missed. So I do not have a lot of comments on this. Okada won. I imagine Brody King was spectacular because he's Brody King and he's always effing spectacular. But I didn't see the match. So you know me. I don't like when to comment on shit I didn't see. So that was it.
There were some good counters. It was pretty solid. Like I said, it just, unfortunately, it was just nothing much that we could really...
I was coming off that high.
It was okay.
I was coming off that high. I was in the Soul Suplex Discord talking about Swerve. I was talking to JR about Swerve. This match just kind of came and went.
Right. Well,
and
speaking
then,
of a match
unfortunately, I then paid 100% attention to the next match.
Yeah, speaking of a match that came and went, the AEW World Tag Team Championship match between the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin versus the Outrunners.
Everyone that knows anything about wrestling knew what the story of this match was supposed to be. Hurt Syndicate was supposed to come out overconfident. Outrunners were supposed to catch them with a couple near falls. Then the Hurt Syndicate was supposed to just win. I don't know who booked or put together this match because it didn't do any of that. The Hurt Syndicate kind of just won an extended squash.
Yeah, no, this match was fucking quick. It did not feel like the Outrunners got much at all in this match.
No, they did not look like somebody that could win the title one day, which, when you're doing these overwhelming odds matches, that's what they're supposed to look like. I'm not trying to rewrite wrestling here. I'm saying do what you've always done. They get a couple, roll-ups, look like they're, oh man, shit, they maybe hit Shelton with their finisher. He kicks out, and then Bobby Lashley comes in, and exactly how it ended is exactly the way it was supposed to end. But they went some alternative way on this. Like I said, I don't know who put the match together. It wasn't just confusing, like, it confused the crowd. You know what I mean? In a super hot show, it was like, what was that we just watched? Oh, well.
No, yeah. I mean, it looked like a match that was put together by somebody who doesn't like the Outrunners.
Correct. Because they just kind of got mudhole stomped. Or they wanted people to stop complaining about the Outrunners not getting title shots or whatever. And I felt like this was the Outrunners, I believe, their first, tag team on tag team, 2-on-2 pay-per-view match. And it was like, you want to make them shine, right? And it just didn't feel like they shined at all.
Unfortunately, I feel like the Outrunners are getting treated with a little bit of what I call the Danhausen syndrome, where you sell a lot of merchandise, but because you're a silly act, you don't get pushed.
Yes.
That's what it feels like. Orange Cassidy's been the one to kind of usurp that because he's wrestled his ass off, and they kind of went at him with a little bit more of a serious slant to his character, with having him try way more than he normally does. But he's the only exception. Like any other kind of, I don't want to say that, but any other silly male act, I will say, does not get over. Or, I mean, it gets over, but it just doesn't get pushed.
Yes. And like I said, this match was confusing. This show was amazing. We got a lot to talk about, so we just might as well move on.
Because from this point onward, for the most part, until we get to the main event, it's banger Yes.
Shout out Sheamus.
Shout out Sheamus.
Yeah.
Banger after banger after banger after banger after banger.
Yeah.
The Women's World Championship match, the Hollywood ending match between Timeless Toni Storm and the woman from hell, the Glamour, Mariah May.
Yes, and so this is the spot where I said it is clear two matches should have switched spots. This is where Cope and Mox should have been.
Main event should have been this match.
This match should have been at the end. And it's like one of those things.
We're not saying anything new by saying that. Everyone has been saying that.
They earned this spot. RJ City, Toni Storm, Mariah May, everybody in AEW that has worked on this, the production, everything that has happened over the roughly 13, 14 months this feud has been a thing since I think it was they met each other during World's End in 23. They all deserve the main event, in my opinion. Again, the only really opinion that matters is TK's. I have no problem saying that. I understand that. But as a viewer, as a watcher of the show, as a person that flew out to the show because of the matches, gotta tell you, yeah, everyone would have been okay with this one time Mox and Cope not main eventing the show.
I mean, just everything on this match was perfection, from the presentation leading up with the Turner Classic Movies level of like the trailer that they put out leading up to this match. Mariah coming out with the wedding gown, the poster set up out like on the ramp, each of them having a star of the Walk of Fame on the floor, the Turner Classic Movies and Warner Brothers logos being put on the ramp, on the barricade next to the ramp, the table with the Hollywood sign on it, like Toni Storm's makeup being covered in blood because she had the biggest crimson mask in this match, got busted open after she got put through a table on the production staff. They went through the table off to the side of the ramp, and then Mariah got her head busted open with a steel chain. The champagne bucket being brought out with a broken bottle inside of it. Then they go full Japanese death match and tape their hands and shove their fists into the broken glass. And then Toni and them trying to punch each other in the face, and Toni smashes her with the glass on her fist, and she starts bleeding. She takes the bottleneck that's broken and digs it into her forehead. Broken glass onto the mat. Toni Storm, from Mariah to Toni Storm onto the mat. Storm Zero on top of a chair. The title belt being used, and then getting to the point where they get on top of the ramp, and Toni, with her championship, does what Mariah did to her all those months back and all that year back, slamming the belt onto her back. And then the shoe, white and bloodied, she grabs it. They get up towards the ramp. The Mayday onto the stage to counter. It looks like Toni is going to be able to get beat, but Toni fights back and then hits Mariah repeatedly with her shoe, and then hits the code 0 through the table, hits the Storm Zero, pins her, and then as the music plays and as the spotlights are playing, she's holding Mariah, who is motionless, and she's cuddled up to her. And just on top of the screen, it just says "the end." Dude. Pure perfection. It's my women's match of the year, and nothing will top it. I can tell you that nothing will top it. It may be one of my matches of the year, just period, straight up. So, this was the conclusion of one of AEW's best feuds since Hangman's rise to the championship, since CM Punk versus MJF. This is one of AEW's best feuds in the company's existence. I am absolutely 1,000% okay with saying that, and I don't think anyone's going to really disagree with me. This was the conclusion of one of the best feuds, and it's a star-making performance for not just Toni, but Mariah as well. Like, Mariah May, the work she did in this feud in this story, just to cement herself as a absolute pinnacle of the women's division, I think is something that cannot be understated, or overstated straight up. Like, my match of the show, no doubt about it. Like, I love this so much.
Okay. Everything you just said, amazing. I am a few days away from it now, so I can actually give a thought and be like, oh, I'm not a victim of the moment. This is my favorite non-traditional women's match ever. Number one. Like, when I say this, just not one-on-one in the ring. This was one of the Hollywood indie match, one of my favorite women's matches ever. And it was under 15 minutes, so it's something I'm going to watch over again in life. My wife, I've heard rumors that there are women, like when they do their demos, women don't like blood. My wife is the extreme opposite of that. She loves blood in her matches. So first thing I did when I got on was like, you got to watch this shit. And yeah, she was super into it. So much blood. The glass, the fist. Oh my God, that was such a perfect touch. Dude, just imagine, Tony Khan, if you're listening, AEW people, if you're listening, just imagine, you've already had Mox and Cope. You have this moment. Tony Storm has just Apollo or Storm Zero Mariah through it, 1, 2, 3, and it pops up the end, and that's how you go off screen of the show.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it was set up for it to be like that. It was set up for that to be the closing moment of the show.
And then at the end, and that's the show. That's the show. Yeah. So, again, I still think you could have had Moxley do the same thing, and you could still had the end that you had in the middle of the show, but the perfect ending of this show was Tony Storm dropping Mariah. And it is for the AEW Women's World Title.
Yes.
So the world title is still the last match in the show. So it's not like you're saying, oh, the world title, you're like, oh, the world title should be the last match. Okay, it's the women's world title. It's the last match of the show. She could still be your top champion. It might be hindsight being 2020, but I'm thinking when you're putting this show together and you have that moment in the show, it seems almost illogical that this doesn't end the show. But this was an amazing match. One of my favorite women's match ever. I don't want to take anything away from Mariah and Tony. And, RJ City apparently put this together. That's been the rumor the whole time. I'm not trying to take anything away from the ladies because they did an exceptional job through this whole thing. 10 out of 10. If there was Academy Awards for wrestling, Tony Storm would win it. Mariah May would win Best Supporting Actress. This would be the greatest thing ever. I really want to put over how much I enjoyed this because, when I say it should have went on last, it's not taking away. It did not take any enjoyment away from this match. But I do think it put Mox and Cope in an extremely shitty situation.
1,000%. Like, when I tell you, first of all, if I was in attendance at this show and if I was sitting close to the ramp, I would have snuck in a rose, legitimately snuck in a rose or a bouquet of roses to throw onto the ramp. I would have absolutely brought in a bunch of roses to hand to the crowd to throw. Because imagine that would have been the case too with them cuddled up and people were throwing roses. Just I would have loved that too. Obviously it was a perfect ending image anyway, but just in my head, I'm just thinking full classic Hollywood, throwing roses at the stage. Oh, it would have been amazing.
Yes, but this was an amazing match. I give the ladies their flowers. I look forward to what they do in the future. I did have this thought though, because I was extremely concerned with Mariah May is going to do.
Correct.
After
which
this.
Is why you had her winning.
Yes, I thought she should have won. Even though I didn't think she was going to win, I thought she should have won. I came up with a great storyline that would work. You bring Britt back one of these weeks, whatever you do. Britt cuts a promo about how she's the face of AEW, the first woman signed. Boom, who attacks her? Crazy, violent Mariah May saying she will be the new face of AEW. And the only way to be the new face of the women's division of AEW is to take out the old one. Boom.
I am all for that. I had a different idea, which was the fact of, you have two women coming off of big, massive feuds who need something to do. Obviously, Britt, like you said, is someone who hasn't done anything, so this would be a perfect spot for her to be feuding with Mariah May. But also, I think Mariah May versus Harley Cameron would be an amazing feud. I think that you could do some really good stuff with, because Mariah is so deadpan serious and vicious, and Harley's like amazing attitude and humor and her just ability to perform. I think those two could bounce off each other incredibly well. So I think they could do something as well, because Harley is still looking to do something after her feud with Mercedes Moné. And then you've got Mariah May, who's looking to do something now. I think those two could do a lot for each other.
I think that was a great idea, but I'm always looking for ways to get Britt back.
Always. I understand.
I want Britt back on my TV. I don't care if she's just doing like backstage stuff and it's leading to her, back to wrestling. Britt is just a favorite of mine. This is completely personal. Shout out to my boy Chris Reigns. We've been on this train for a few months now.
Always.
Since Pittsburgh, when she was so loud, it was like, why is she on my TV every week? Like, she should be there. And it's like, dude, she has shown she can work in a supporting role. She did that for Jamie Hayter. She could be the leader of the group. She could be doing anything. And my personal thing, I don't even, like I say, I don't know how things are going, how long they get along, but give me Reba and Britt back, because I thought that was just a 10 out of 10 A-plus act. But they're going to do what they do. I just want Britt back on my TV.
I understand completely. We move in next to, because I was immediately like, oh God, who the fuck has to follow that? None other than Konosuke Takeshita and Kenny fucking Omega for the International Championship. So automatically, no chance to breathe. Here we go. You get Takeshita Omega immediately just deciding to kill each other. Holy shit, this was such a good match. Like, these guys, I mean, just unbelievable work. Kenny Omega's entrance immediately with this new theme, but with the Final Fantasy styles. Every match he's in feels big because of the entrance alone and because it's Kenny fucking Omega. The strikes that these guys laid into each other. I love the fact that now it feels like every single match moving forward, Kenny Omega's stomach is going to be the target for every opponent, because they, like, holy shit, man. I mean, the damage this man took, like him getting shoved into the ribs, into the guardrail, like, looks absolutely terrible. Omega is getting, like, just choked out at multiple periods. I love Don Callis getting involved and how much the crowd hates him. It's so good. Takeshita got a German suplex onto the floor, onto Omega, and then put him. There was a table that the crowd very much wanted to be used. It did not get used in the way that they were expecting, because Kenny at one point moves the table onto the ground. Crowd starts booing. Then Takeshita puts it up on its side and drops Kenny ribs first onto the side of the table, which looked like it sucked as well. This match was just so much in it, and everybody, like, Kenny Omega coming back from this, he talked about how he wondered if he could be that same guy that was putting on these 5-star classics. Brother, you haven't lost a step. I gotta say, it was so good. Takeshita continues to be one of the most underrated wrestlers on AEW's roster, shining every single time he's in it.
He is underrated to everyone except the man named Floyd Johnson, who thinks he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. And this match was between two of the best wrestlers on the planet. And this was my favorite match of the night.
Okay.
I am willing to, if you say any other match was better or you enjoyed it more, I will not argue with you. Because I literally had 4 matches rated 4.5 or better, right? And so this match was 5 stars in my opinion, in my humble non-Dave Meltzer opinion, because I rate 100% on enjoyment. 100% on enjoyment, not on quote-unquote quality. 5 stars all the way. I said, yeah, probably higher than 5 if I was doing that thing. This match was athletic. It was physical. It was the perfect bridge, in my opinion, between the old school and the new school, because they both tried to hit their finishers. The other person was prepared because they've wrestled twice before.
They know each other so well.
And they're prepared. And how does it end? Oh, my God, the way I love when wrestling matches end. Because I grew up in the 80s, and every big world title match ended one way, with a fucking roll-up. Somebody just got caught. Kenny Omega just catches Takeshita. Takeshita's like, oh, shit, I got caught. I can't believe it's 3. I love the expressions on their face. I love Kenny Omega getting the explosions and all that stuff, because the ace of AEW is back. As much as I love Takeshita, less as I love Ospreay, which I believe if they would absolutely be the aces of any company they were in, except they happen to be in the same fucking company as Kenny Omega. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kenny
Omega as a champion, man, would be that makes AEW feel big, dude. It makes AEW feel so huge.
Kenny Omega, I could tell you 100 things I don't like about his look, but dude, then he starts wrestling, and it's just, it's a miracle. It's Picasso painting. It's Prince playing many of the instruments that he knows how to play. It is Jay-Z rapping. It is everything. He is perfection when it comes to this. And this is coming from a person. I have never once said Kenny Omega is my favorite wrestler in the world, because he's not. He is the best wrestler in the world. Those are two completely different things. Him and Takeshita, top 5, top 10 of this generation. Argue with your mama. I don't care. Man, this match was amazing. And again, it felt like they left a little. I felt like there was more. And it was amazing. God damn Kenny Omega. When he called himself the God of Pro Wrestling, I always used to
he might just be.
He might be. And honestly, how I'm gushing over him, and in a match or so, I'm gonna be gushing over someone else again. So Kyle, I thought Takeshita was amazing. 10 out of 10. I thought Kenny Omega was 10 out of 10. They were both on another level. There were some transitions in this match. The Blue Thunder Bomb, all the stuff that they got in. Oh my God. I'm like, dude, I truly believe in this match. You can watch this match back 5, 10, 15 times, and each time you will come away with a new favorite part.
I couldn't agree more. Like, it's just so unbelievably done. It's just some of the best wrestlers in the world doing the best.
And how the fuck do you follow this? Let's go.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people had to answer that question.
They did. They had to really sit with themselves and figure out how is this going to happen.
Yeah.
And again, no fucking time to breathe. Steel cage match. Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher. First off, side note, bad day to be Don Callis, I will say, in this show. Very bad day to be Don Callis.
He caught a lot of L's. Kind of wish the Murder Machines would have beat somebody on the pre-show, because
just to get something
the group had a bad day.
Yes. The closing moment of this rivalry of these United Empire partners working in a steel cage. Jesus Christ, man. It's like, what the fuck? The 3-match fucking punch, like the 3-punch combo of Hollywood Ending, Omega Takeshita, and then Steel Cage Ospreay and Fletcher was fucking ridiculous.
Man, how would you feel?
Ridiculous.
How would you feel if you had to put on a cage match in another city the next day?
Hey, you know what?
I probably would have just tapped out. I probably would have said, "Oh, my ankles hurt." So
listen, I ain't about this whole fucking nonsensical. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Competition, comparison.
No, it's not. It's not competition. It's this tribalism shit. Why not both? You got 2 good steel cage matches in the span of 2 days.
Sir, Sir.
Watch your tone.
I'm just gonna say, that's like saying, "Oh, I drove a Lamborghini and I drove a Honda Civic. They're just as good."
Brother.
I fucking love my Honda Civic. I will die for my Honda Civic. It ain't a fucking Lamborghini.
Brother. One was on pay-per-view. One was on pay-per-view. One was on TV. We're not having the same conversation.
Netflix is basically pay-per-view every week.
Bullshit.
They can go as long as they want to, and they don't have to put commercials in. It's a pay-per-view.
In which case, they've had some really shit pay-per-views, I will say, since they moved.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. It's Netflix. They have complete control. The match can go as long as it wants, and they don't have to put in commercials during it.
But also, too...
It's not TV. It's streaming.
Listen.
But again...
We're not having this conversation.
Again.
You're the one that brought him up. I didn't even go in there being like... I didn't even go in there trying to like poke the bear with it. Would be like, who's the second best steel cage match of the weekend?
Oh, because you know you would be
that shit.
Because you know you would be lying.
Because I would be lying. But I'm not trying to be like this. You were the one that went there.
I went there because it just seemed, in my eyes, not to make a lot of sense. Okay, just like what? Okay, okay, but this match was so. This is what steel cage matches should be in 2025.
Yes, it was vicious. It was absolutely vicious. That's what I will say. The I'm not gonna do comparison times on this shit. Okay?
I'm not gonna compare it.
Yeah,
one thing.
But this one felt like a vicious. Like we have to put these two in a death box, and one person has to come out alive. Yes,
dude, it felt like a modern day version of an 80s cage match. And again, so when you talk about all the stuff off the top and all that stuff and the weapons, again, that's the modern day version. But I'm talking about the energy, the violent energy that these two individuals are rabid. And every time they have a match, someone gets involved. We need a cage match to make this a mano-a-mano and just see who the better effing man is. Mm-hmm. And this match was everything for that. Okay.
And even though people did get involved with
your old or broken phone can let you down when you need it most. Perfect. But at Verizon, trade in any old phone from our top brands and get the most for it, up to $2,000 in value for an amazing new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence and a new line on My Plan, and iPad and Apple Watch Series 10. That's like a 3-for-1. And you can get it on any plan. At Verizon, trade in your old phone for a brand new iPhone 16 Pro, iPad, and Apple Watch. The other guys won't give you that. Visit Verizon.com today. Additional terms apply. Service plan required for Apple Watch and iPad. Up to $2,000 value based on iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch.
Davis coming down to the ring with a black bag and gets bolt cutters to get the cage door open and get that bag in there, to which Will proceeds to kick the door shut as it slams into Mark Davis's face, which is an amazing, amazing spot. I mean, bro, like the use of the barbed wire bat I thought was great. The
fucking screwdrivers that started the whole thing was great.
Being involved in there once again with Don Callis family members having to use a screwdriver. And then the fucking tax, man. This man actively decided, I'm going to Styles Clash somebody onto thumbtacks. Drop somebody face and stomach and body first onto thumbtacks.
Yes.
Like, Jesus Christ was fucking insane. And then the beautiful spot of Kyle ducking, Will Ospreay ducking the bat being swung at him and then hitting the hidden blade. He threw the barbed wire onto his arm for him to hit a hidden blade. And then they start fighting up onto this top of the steel cage, and a fucking Spanish fly off the top of the cage. Like, you could, like, feel the energy of the room of people like holding their breath because they're terrified one of these two men or both will die from this. Like, it looked terrifying and it was insane. Then a hidden blade, Tiger Driver 91, Will Ospreay beats Kyle Fletcher. This man is the face of AEW. He's the face of AEW. Ospreay, I think, has cemented himself as the guy. When you want to say, what is AEW, you point to Will Ospreay. Like, I just feel like that at this point, it is what it is. It may not be how it's represented by the company, but at this point, he is the face of AEW. I always thought in my heart of hearts that Darby Allin was the heart and soul and the face of AEW. He had the chance to be the face of AEW, but he wanted to fuck off to Everest. So I can't help you at this point. Will Ospreay swooped in and decided, no, but actually, like, when you think of AEW, you think of me.
So it's so funny. Shout out to Darby, because I do want to say this is funny, because this is how wrestling fans think. This dude is about to do something that in the history of the world, there's only 7,200 people that have completed a climb to Mount Everest. This is something that probably should be celebrated. Wrestling fans, this is why you shouldn't win. This shouldn't be more important than wrestling.
Brother, I mean, look, listen. I'm all for...
You know what the sad part is? You know what the sad part is? I 100% agree with you.
Yes, because again, I'm all for him doing that. Even though I want him to not die, I'm all for him chasing after that, and the idea of him planting the AEW flag on top of Everest is a cool fucking idea. That being said, like, AEW is completely fine with you taking other bookings and doing other independent shows and all this type of stuff and, you know, doing that. But at the same time, if your schedule does not allow you to be world champion, you will not be world champion. And they were setting it up for you. They were setting it up. You were the one that was going to close this whole thing out, and then everything kind of had to be on the back burner while you were off doing your shit. So you can do that, but you're not going to be booked in the world title anymore.
Correct.
So, but getting off of that.
Yes.
Again, this match was fucking madness, and it was the conclusion of a 3-match, like I said, combo of just insane wrestling. People were exhausted after this. Like I said, exhausted.
I think, and this is a very specific thing, so if you want to send me a message directly on Blue Sky or Twitter and let me know I'm wrong, but I think this might have been the greatest 3-match run in AEW history.
Honestly.
Like, you might find something that's on this level. I don't think you'll find something that you can flat out say was better.
When people say banger after banger after banger, this is the representation of banger after banger after banger.
Kyle Fletcher is the most accurately named person in the world, the Protostar, which a Protostar, if some people didn't know, they happen to be listening to, means a new star. This is a star that's, being born. He's not there yet, but he's right fucking there. And dude, hey, I think Daniel Garcia is amazing.
Yeah.
I love Adam Cole. But if I'm TNT and I'm the network and I'm looking down and I'm like, hey, you see that giant attractive white guy with the 6'4" abs? That's going to be the face of my channel.
Yeah, that's going to be the new TNT champion.
Yeah, he's going to be
like,
the face
if I'm like, and I love Daniel Garcia, but if I'm Tony Khan, I'm immediately putting Kyle Fletcher in the TNT title picture to get that title back to where it needs to be, like as the secondary title in AEW singles division. Yeah. I love Daniel Garcia. He has not gotten the chance to shine with that belt with a legitimate feud.
Dude, and I would do that if I was Kyle Fletcher. I'd do the anti-open challenge thing. I'd do an open challenge, but the open challenge keeps being people that I can beat really easily. Like somehow they always...
The open challenge should literally be just Max Caster getting his ass kicked by Kyle Fletcher every single week.
Yes, that would be awesome. But whatever they decide to do, Kyle Fletcher, dude, he was in a match with Will Ospreay. And I know most of the flowers, all the flowers, 80% of the flowers are going to get thrown at Will Ospreay's foot. But there was another guy in that ring. And there was another guy on all the sides of those moves, and then all the sides of everything they did. He was Kyle Fletcher. And I truly believe, as far as a performer, he was just as good that night. And I just thought he was great. I want to give him his flowers because, everybody's been saying the matches are great and Will Ospreay is great. He's kind of been getting glazed over from what I've seen. I just wanted to make sure Kyle Fletcher got his moment in time.
His moment of shouting, I fucking middle of the ring right before he gets hidden blade to oblivion.
Dude, I felt that
at him.
I felt that because that's how I feel towards every Philadelphia Eagle fan I know. So I felt him in that moment, like tear in my eye. Like, I don't care that I wasn't as good as you tonight. I still hate you because to me, to get where I need to go, I had to let go of this. I had to let go of our friendship, and he did.
Yeah, dude, spectacular.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, we get to this part of the show, which you guys know is coming. So, Floyd, since you were in the arena for the show, I want you to kind of do the opening on this match.
So,
the AEW World Title match between Jon Moxley and Cope. You can go ahead and go into the opening thoughts.
I'm gonna go in the idea that they were put in an impossible fucking situation, spent emotionally after those matches. Four amazing matches, spent emotionally. They were coming out. Everybody pretty much has an idea who's going to win, right? The emotional investment on this match at default was very low because I think most people just assumed Mox was going to win. So they come out, and Copeland comes out, and on this day, it's so real. Everybody sings
Crowd
it.
singing it.
Yeah, so that was great.
That being said, LA didn't remember the words as well as Australia did. Australia knew the word.
Let me be honest with this. I didn't know anyone knew the fucking words other than the band. Most of the time, on this day, I see clearly everything has come to light. And then the rest of it, that's what I do the rest of the time. I don't say the words. I just kind of hum the beat because I don't know the fucking words to that song. Shout out to Australia. Shout out to UK, man. I think there's a class. I think there's a secret class that goes on in their primary schools where you have to learn certain songs. They're not going to admit it. They're going to, like, this just happens. But fuck you. Fuck you. No one knows the words to that song. Edge doesn't know the words to his song.
I know.
Edge doesn't know the words to his song.
I know the words to him.
I mean, okay. Who's the singer and performer in this friendship? I kind of expect you to know it. You're like Rachel from Glee. I expect you to know everything. If I have a music question, I'm sending it to you. And honestly, I'd be disappointed if you didn't know it. That's kind of your thing. But they're singing the song, and yeah, they didn't know the words. It was great. But you heard some people like, this is making the noise. And
I'm just saying, if you can learn the words to Judas, you can learn the words to this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I didn't know the words to Judas until the Jacksonville Boys Choir. I learned the words listening to everyone else singing it. But again, that comes in. Mox comes out. Heavy crowd. Match starts. Nothing. Everybody's done. We need this over. Sorry. I am one of the few people that taking the stance that this wasn't necessarily a bad match.
No.
They had no chance. After what we had experienced, they were put in such a possible situation. I don't care if Edge had wrestled 60 years. The crowd was spent. We didn't have anything left. Okay? So they have their match, and then they try to put on like a regular wrestling match after what we just saw. They're like doing headlocks and chin locks and... What? Who told you that was a good idea?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They put on a regular match. Everybody's checked out. I think approximately 12 people in our suite, 9 were on their phone. I actually looked around and got a count. No one was watching this match until Christian shows up. And I say Christian's the bright spot of this match because that's when everybody got into it, when Christian was the third person. I think they were getting into it a little before then, but when Christian was the third person. And then they did the finish with Rock.
Well, because you just showed up before that as well.
Yeah, you just showed up before. They got into it a little bit.
Jay White showed up to make the save.
And then hit him with the thing. And everybody's like, oh, that's how the match is going to end. This is going to go to Jay White versus Adam, blah, blah, blah. Again, that was a great false finish because everybody thought it was over. Then Christian comes in, and we have that. And then we have the end of the match with Mox choking out Christian. And then, I mean, there was a pretty good applause at the end of this. Pretty good applause, but of course Mox won, so no one was happy. Like I said, I thought this match was all right. It would have been a great main event of Dynamite. It would have been like a great main event of Dynamite. But yeah, it's just like, what was it? The 7th best match on this card? 7th?
Maybe.
I mean, it literally, it depends on how you felt about Okada and Brody. So at best, it was the 7th match on this card. And yeah, I thought, like I said, it was fine. Let me tell you one thing I'm high on. I like cash-ins. I like the Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
But I truly have come to the idea that it is a WWE thing, right? So,
well, and if also it's not going to end with that person winning the belt, then why do they have it?
So my big thing is the cash-in should always have to be how MJF established it, where you have to pick a time and you get a one-on-one match with the champion.
Yes.
I hate the mid-match stuff. I think this was the first and the last thing that can happen. The great benefit for me is that they got rid of it. It's not looming over anyone's head. If you want to make Christian a fucking heel and that wins the title in the most despicable way fashion, I feel like there's 1,000 other ways to do it that has nothing to do with cashing in a briefcase. So I'm glad that's gone.
I agree.
Cope didn't win. Cope didn't lose. Which, again, apparently we heard rumors that got on Twitter and stuff that there was I think it was Brian Alvarez, that this match was completely different. There was an original idea of this match that 86'd it and went with this. I feel like there's a good reason for that we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, I thought the match was fine. It was, dude, if this match was like 20% better, this would probably been go down as the greatest AEW pay-per-view ever, but it didn't.
Yeah.
So it's still in that upper echelon of AEW pay-per-views. This wasn't it. What are your thoughts on this match, sir?
Yeah, it just, and I will say too, because we went into this with the proper outlook, I think, on this match, because I saw a lot of melting down over this match and it main eventing and how it ended. I saw a lot of melting down on it. Now, you and me both went into this match knowing Cope's not winning. Like, he's just not. Like, we had a prediction kind of it being, with the Christian cash-in, like that could be where they go with it. But more so than anything, I think we were just kind of under the impression of just like, it's just going to be that, you know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be what it is. There's nothing really it is what it is. Like, I think me specifically more than anybody for the last 4 or 5 months, I have talked about how I have not been a fan of anything involving the Death Riders. Have they improved in the last month or two? Sure, but I'm still not a fan of it. I've said this enough times, how I just have no care factor in it whatsoever. It is not connected with me. It has not clicked with me. It's just not been it. And Jon Moxley is a deathmatch wrestler. He is a hardcore wrestler. Why was this match no stipulations? Literally on Dynamite. This isn't a spoiler. It's just moving forward. They're having this match again with no rules on Dynamite next week. As trying to save it, save face of oh, hey, remember this was what you were supposed to get on that show. Because they know, I'm sorry, no disrespect. I like Jon Moxley, but no disrespect. No one wants to see this man in a straight up singles match because he does not wrestle that kind of way. He wrestles death match garbage wrestling. It is his absolute best quality as a wrestler. That is where he shines the most. So in this match, in a feud and with a faction, with a world champion that has no connection with the audience, unfortunately, it was a dud. It was a fine match, but as the closing match of what was looking to be one of, if not the best AEW pay-per-views we have seen, it ended on a wet fart, unfortunately. And again, it wasn't a bad match. It was just fine. And I think you're seeing a lot of people catch up to what I've been saying. I'm not trying to go on an I told you so thing, but like, I think people are catching up to how what I've been saying about this title reign and Jon Moxley with the Death Riders, how it's been boring and I just can't care whatsoever. It's already worn out its welcome. My sister Sydney is one of the biggest apologists, I think, for AEW. Like, she loves AEW too, just like me. But even some stuff where I like to call AEW out for stuff that, like, no wrestling company is perfect. And we are the proclivity for positivity. But if something doesn't work, I say so. Where she kind of tends to, she gives way more leeway, I think, than any other person that I know that watches AEW. She is, you got such a long leash with her. Such a long leash. She was furious with the finish. She was so mad about this. And I think that shows you how far this has gone and how little people have in terms of caring about Jon Moxley. I think you've reached a point with him at the world title where you're getting to an anybody but you mindset right now. Literally anyone can take the belt off of him and people would be ecstatic. And it's unfortunate because Moxley is the paradigm shift. He is the guy that set the first shot of, hey, AEW's legit when he showed up at Double or Nothing 2019. But this is just the BCC with a new coat of paint and a couple new members. It's what I've said from the beginning. And I just don't see anything in this that gets me to care. Now, Swerve coming out and diving onto Moxley to close out the show was a good moment. And I think it's got people a little bit more like, okay, let's go. Here we go. Like, but look, man, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, I wasn't disappointed about it because I just knew what to expect with this, man. I have not connected with anything Moxley whatsoever. And I don't dislike the guy. I like Moxley. He's never been my favorite, but I like Moxley. Like, I just can't, man, with this guy in this feud, in this faction, and him as the world champion. Like, I just can't. It just doesn't work whatsoever. And now you're seeing other people start to echo that same statement for people who have been relatively okay with it for the last few months. Not anymore. Honestly, I'm at the point right now where, like when in Dynasty, Swerve needs to win. He needs to win. Like, it's just, I feel like at this point, like, it just has to end now because I think people's patience is running out. It's no disrespect again, and I think this match was fine, but it's just, it's run dry. It's run dry for even the most devoted AEW fans. Like, they just can't. Unless you're a diehard Moxley fan, I don't see why you care about this, unfortunately. And it was a downer to close out the show. But again, this should not take away from how great this Revolution was. This show was insane with the matches. Like, 3 or 4 of these matches could be match of the years. Legitimately. And one of these, I think, will be the best women's match of the year. No doubt about it. At a minimum, this show slapped. It's just unfortunate that this was the main event. Could this match have been saved if it was swapped with the Hollywood ending? Possibly. I still don't think people would have cared about this match whatsoever. That's just me. But maybe it would have had a little bit of a better chance of succeeding if it was swapped with the Hollywood ending. But no doubt about it, this show would have sat a lot better in people's minds if the final shot was the end with Mariah and Tony in each other's arms, bloodied and battered. Like, it would have just been the perfect ending. It just would have. I don't know how the crowd would have reacted if it would have followed those 2 matches before with the steel cage match and Omega Takeshita. I don't know. I like the fact that it was the first real, like, holy shit match, like, that people were really, like, looking at. Like, obviously MJF and Hangman was great too, but, like, I liked where it was placed, honestly. But it would have been an amazing ending, and it should have probably main evented over anything else. But Yeah, show was still spectacular. Unfortunate with the main event, but I just can't be mad about it because I've been saying this for months. But that was AEW Revolution, unbelievable show in a entirety. We'll move immediately now into AEW Dynamite, which aired tonight from Fresno, California, which opened with Kenny Omega, the new international champion, opening the show, basically saying, before 2025, he was just happy to be standing in this ring again to say that he's cleared to be able to keep doing this. But now we're barely into the new year, and thanks to the support of fans, doctors, Will Ospreay, not only am I back, but I'm back with something I'd never be able to hold. I thought I'd never be able to hold again, which is a singles title. He then said he thanked, it's controversial, but he thanked Takeshita for pushing him harder at the pay-per-view than he could have ever pushed himself. And he made this an international champion. And now when Tony Khan came up with the idea of this tournament for the international championship eliminator tournament, he thought it was a great idea because he wants to face the best and he'll be watching closer than all the fans. He bid everyone adieu, goodbye, and good night. Nice little setup for the tournament that would be taking place moving forward on Dynamite. It was just a cool little opening, having Kenny open the show, I thought.
Yes, I mean, this was, hey, I'm back. I'm Kenny Omega. Love me. Look, if this was a heel, you would call it a victory celebration.
Yep.
But it wasn't a heel, so it was just like Kenny Omega pretty much, addresses everybody and lets them know I'm back to being Kenny Omega. I'm 100% kind of thing. So I thought this was cool. So
yep. Yeah. And there was a little show face down between Kenny Omega and Shibata, who is in the tournament, as the Ops came out for a quick trios match against Vinny Pacifico jobbers. Basically, I'll just say they did a trios match with some jobbers, and it was just there basically to have the Ops get another victory and have Kenny Omega have a quick showdown with Shibata, who may be the guy that faces him if he wins the tournament. So that's basically all we had for that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, this was pretty much all of this was nothing. I mean,
we're going to kind of blow through a lot of stuff. In this
I was about to say, this could be like a 15-minute review. Really, nothing happened.
We're just going to kind of blow through to Dynamite because there was like a couple things that we can like focus in on specifically. Ricochet does a promo backstage talking about how just because he got screwed at Revolution doesn't mean his quest for gold was over. And he called out Shibata for Collision because he's going to be saying how the belt would look better around his waist. And he knows what Shibata is capable of, but he's giving you the opposition, the option to quit and not show up on Collision because it's still Ricochet's time. And then we had Swerve. We had a couple things right after they had some back-to-back promos of what happened after Revolution. First caught up with Swerve saying how he set it up that he was going to make his challenge for the AEW World Championship specifically at Dynasty because he won the world title, becoming the first AEW World Champion who was black at Dynasty last year, and he's going to do it again at Dynasty this year. And that's when Cope came out and goes, I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't lose tonight, because Christian was the one who lost in the trios match, in the three-way match. He's like, so there's a chance that by the time Dynasty comes around, you'll be facing me. And he said, basically, good luck. They did a little fist bump, and then they go off on their separate ways. Yeah. So
this was, hey, I'm coming for you.
Yep, I'm coming for you.
Whether you win, lose, whatever, I'm coming for you.
And then Moxley goes on and says his promo about how
this was the rare good Moxley promo.
Yes.
I thought this was really good. He's like, I underestimated. He put Cope over hard.
Yes.
He's like, he had no reason to keep going.
He's like, I scored the game-winning shot at the buzzer, but I should have iced him basically before Christian even laced up his boots but he underestimated him. Yes.
Yes, and he couldn't beat him. He basically said, I didn't have what it took to beat Cope.
But then he goes, do you want to complain about rules with me beating Christian? Take the rules. Take what you want. Rules. You take the rules. I'll take your excuses because my dad always said measure twice, cut once. I underestimated Cope's perseverance, but there is a reason why I'm world champion. I never make the same mistake twice. So, yes, a good promo. And again, sets up for what Moxley does best, which is be in blood death match, like hardcore matches. That's what he does. It's just what he is. He's the best at that. So there you go. You're getting the match that you probably should have gotten in Revolution to begin with, but we don't worry about that because we're getting the match anyway, and it should be significantly better this time around, and will be a good main event for Dynamite next week. So there we go. We're fixing mistakes, and I'm all for wrestling companies admitting when they made a mistake and they fix it.
No, absolutely, they're fixing a lot, and we're probably because I brought up Brian Alvarez said that ending of the match changed from last week, and I'm not gonna go too far into it. I'm not going to go too far into it because I don't really want to give away what's going to happen next week. But basically, we're going to get the match we were supposed to get at Revolution next week.
Yes, exactly.
I'm 99% sure it's probably going to be to the T exactly what we were supposed to get at Revolution.
I would not be surprised in the slightest. And then we had our first full match. That wasn't a squash match. We had Hologram and Powerhouse Hobbs versus the Machine Brian Cage and Dralistico with the Beast Mortos at ringside, and the return of Harley Graham. Harley Cameron dressed up as Hologram, which was cool. She did a little moment where she danced while wearing the mask to distract the Beast Mortos, which I thought was funny. Was a nice way of at least getting her on the show. That being said, let's get this girl into a feud. Like I said, her and Mariah May, I think, would do banger shit. So, have them do shit together. I think that would be much better than just putting Harley back in her mask. That's just me, though. But it was nice to see her, at least, and she was very funny. Shout out to the guy who had a Feel the Wrath sign in the front row. You, sir, are doing God's work. This is a good match. I enjoyed this match. The specific moment of the match for me was when Brian Cage catches Hologram from a suicide dive and turns it into a suplex. Picture perfect shit. I liked how they kept Hobbs out of the match for the entirety of it until he finally got in and then was able to meet his way into the match with his meatiness against Brian Cage. Thought that was really good. Hologram and Dralistico wrestled their asses off. I thought they had some unbelievable work there. Just the movements of those two was crazy. The finish felt kind of like just out of nowhere with the catch of the spine buster on Dralistico, personally. It just seemed like it came out of nowhere, personally.
I don't know how many luchas Hobbs has worked with.
I don't know either.
It just seemed like some timing. I've never done what they've done, so I have no way to tell you what happened. There's miscommunications, there's timing issues or whatever, but this match just looked like a little bit of sloppiness.
for Hobbs and working with Dralistico, I think. But other than that, though, I thought Hologram did really good. Brian Cage was really
I thought
good.
the match was still fun. And,
yes.
And okay, now I do gotta. Me and JR had a laugh because anytime they're in California, Texas, New Mexico, if your state borders Mexico, the amount of masks on that show go way up. Way up. It's like, so why is Hobbs tagging? Oh yeah,
Yeah, this is just kind of thrown together.
It was a very, very thin thread to connect us all together. But he caught Dralistico with the spine buster. Great match. I always I love when Hobbs gets time. But like I said, it was funny. And Hobbs is showing himself as a utility player. He literally can be involved in anything, work with anyone. Again, was this the greatest? But no. But that's how you get better.
And then you had Mark Davis come out there with Lance Archer, and they kind of stared down Powerhouse Hobbs after the match.
So, and again, there's actually, I get it. There's a problem between these three, so I kind of get that. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
There was a great moment where they showed another thing right after the pay-per-view of the Hurt Syndicate basically getting time off after they got the win from MVP. Then you had...
I love how Shelton said, I'm still going to work out, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're gonna find a Gold's Gym.
Yeah, they're gonna find one.
But then you had the moment where they showcased the Hollywood ending and like full on Turner Classic Movies level of just going through the whole story. Specifically, whoever edited the shot of Toni Storm when she did the "What Makes You Think I Haven't Forgotten," where she's dressed up as OG Toni Storm, where she takes off her shirt and it reveals her to be timeless again. And they edit it where it goes from her being colored to black and white when she took her shirt off. You, sir, deserve some sort of award for editing immediately, because that was spectacular. Like, and it looked brilliant. Like, it didn't look like it was a botched Photoshop job. It looked genuinely incredible. Whoever made that edit, I applaud you. I can not only imagine how long that took. As someone who edits, like, holy shit. Like, I couldn't get over that. When they did that, I was like, oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah. I completely agree. I thought this was the best word to describe a thin Dynamite. This was after a pay-per-view. Like, it was a lot of getting to the next thing, and that's great.
And kind of just setting up stuff.
Yeah, but not a lot happened. So I thought this was the best part of Dynamite.
Honestly, yeah, because I mean, it was basically them like putting a bow on what I say is like AEW's best feud.
Dude, if anybody says Mariah May and Toni Storm is their number one feud in AEW history, again, I might not agree, but like, I'm not going to argue with you.
I genuinely think top three might be Swerve, Hangman, or like Mariah, Toni Storm, Swerve, Hangman, CM Punk, MJF. I think that's my top three.
Dude.
Like, in no particular order.
Just to bring up an old name, I do. It hurts my soul that we never got a fully fleshed out Cody and MJF rivalry. Like,
I agree.
We got one match. We got the whippings, all that stuff, but we never got that full on because I think they could have went to some dark places. But as a feuds that have actually happened, yeah, this should be in the top three of any credible list.
1,000%. And then Timeless Toni Storm comes out and has her speech with stitches in her lip, staples in her head, and glass in her ass. She stands before everyone to tell everyone that the tramp is still the champ. And
I feel sorry for any parent that had to explain this promo to their child.
Oh yes. When you fight me, it's like visiting the zoo because I bled like a pig. I lick like a giraffe, and I will eat you like a lion. And you'll never hear me meow because I'm no pussy. It will be messy and it will be sweaty, but it will always be timeless as she starts this new beginning. And then she gets blindsided by Megan Bayne making a huge statement going after the world champion. Okay, here we go. I still am waiting to see that moment where Megan Bayne clicks for me. She hasn't done it yet. I hope that this is it because I want to see her succeed. I want to really click with her. Haven't done it yet. This is a huge opportunity. She's the next feud out of Toni Storm feuding with Mariah May, which, like I said, one of the best feuds in AEW history. So
she is my She is my Megasis. I think I love her. I love how they're presenting her, and I love that we got double Megasis. And this time around
on the show,
there was we got double Megasis, so I was very happy about that. I thought this was awesome. So I don't need everybody to be as high on things as me, but I thought this was freaking awesome.
Yeah, we then had our first match in the International Championship Eliminator Tournament, and it was the Beast Mortos facing off against the Wild Card, and the Wild Card was Speedball, Mike Bailey. They're finally here. Speedball is finally here.
I will just say this. This is all you, sir.
Yeah. They finally make their debut, and Speedball wrestled his ass off. That was a really strong debut, and they made themselves known in this match. Really strong performance, and Mike Bailey goes out. He gets the win. Beautiful kick to get the victory on Beast Mortos. And Speedball Mike Bailey moves on in the tournament. They are now set up on one side of the bracket to wrestle next week on Dynamite. Yeah. Great performance, honestly. And Mortos, too, is just a badass. I still love Beast Mortos.
The Mortos formula. Do dope moves, put on a dope match, take the loss.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was Takeshita's formula for a while. Everybody has went through this. I'm hoping this leads to more in the future. There you go. That's my thoughts.
But shout out Mike Bailey. We were waiting on when they were going to show up on Dynamite because it'd been rumored for so long, but they finally made their debut. It was a strong debut match, and Mike Bailey moves on in the tournament, so it should be exciting to see how they match up in the semifinals.
Welcome to the team.
There you go. We then have a backstage interview with Christian Cage and the Patriarchy. Christian goes, "You're related to Jon Moxley." So I refuse to speak to anyone related to Jon Moxley.
Thank God someone acknowledges that Renee is married to the biggest asshole in the company. Okay?
Exactly. She was compromised, and more people need to call her out for it. So Christian Cage then just continues to just go and go and go, basically going, "I'm still the next undisputed AEW World Champion. When I signed my contract, I said it was for a one-on-one. The ref turned it into a three-way. I didn't tap or pass out. I was just relegating my breathing." And then Nick Wayne just jumps up and says, "You're just making excuses." And immediately I was like, "Sir?" He goes, "You're lying. You're lying to us all. If you had stuck with the plan, you'd be world champion now. So you owe all of us an explanation and an apology." To which Christian goes, "I'm sorry it's come to this, Nick." He shoves Nick and then gets into his face and just starts getting into him and basically going, "How many world titles have you won? How many world titles did your biological father win? And I'm going to be the AEW World Champion if it's the last thing I do." Once again, he keeps bringing up his dead dad and just sticks it into the ground. And he goes, "Keep riding my coattails because the next time we have this conversation will be the last one." And he leaves in a huff. Nick Wayne, my best friend, ever since the Jericho Cruise. Get this man's ass.
Did you miss the Waffle House?
I was so excited for this, man.
Did you miss the Waffle House?
I did hear, the Waffle House.
That was so awesome. He's like, "Yo, send your ass back to Waffle House." And I was like, "Oh, shit. Oh, shit." Yeah, because, as a Waffle House lover, I was like, she should be so lucky as to work in a Waffle House. But
yes, because immediately getting in the face of Mother Wayne as well, too. So.
No, that was crazy. You could see the snap in his eyes.
I love this little turn of events. I love this.
So he had failed himself, not just them. He had failed himself. He had this perfectly thought out plan, and he failed. And Christian had to look in the eye of his son, who saw him as a failure. Oh, that's wrestling.
Yeah. Nick Wayne is legit my best friend after the Jericho Cruise. Legit. Yeah. And I want this man to go after Christian and break off from
the you had to find the one person on the boat that you were older than. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, man. There was not many. But yeah, we move on, and right before MJF's promo on Dynamite, they show Lexi Nair trying to interview MJF, and he's screaming at himself that he's a fucking fraud, and then he punches a mirror, and then the camera, he notices the camera, and he goes, "Get the fuck out of here!" And first off, amazing. Second off, MJF then comes out talking about how he's got a splitting headache, his hand hurts, his body hurts, but what hurts the most is the fact that I had that match to win. Everyone knows it, but your cowardly cowboy decided to cheap shot me like he did in 2019. So they can chant your name and chant cowboy shit all they want because I'm not upset anymore, because fact of the matter is I am 10 times smarter than you and your stupid fans will ever be. I'm going to get mine. And he said, "This is not over. Not by a long shot, cowboy." And that's when we heard people. And MVP comes down. Obviously, he gave his boys the night off. He walks up to MJF. They acknowledge each other, and then they hug. And he's like, "How you been, man? How you been?" He goes, "I'm doing well, but I came out to talk to you because I'm proud of you, because you're not the same 18-year-old kid I met 8 years ago, because he wants volunteered to drive him on a trip just to ask questions about the business. And he said his intelligence showed him that he was a kid to be reckoned with. They got to meet at FCW, like in Florida, basically. And he said, you had huge aura. You had a certain intuition that you can't teach. You said you'd be a main event world champion back then, and you did everything you said you were going to do. And I'm proud of you, but what I'm not proud of is what happened to you on Sunday. Why are you talking about these people? Why are you talking about what these people have? Like, why are you not angry? Why are you not hurting people? Because I know the answer. It's because you lost your edge. The boys don't respect you anymore. They don't fear you, which is even worse. You know who they do fear? The Hurt Syndicate. And that is what you are missing, my friend. I was able to help you once a long time ago, and I might just be able to help you again. Where MVP and the Hurt Syndicate go, champions go as well. This business card is a golden ticket. Maybe it's time you and me talk some business, to which MJF pushes it away and goes, all due respect, I'm not the same bright-eyed kid I was all those years ago. I don't need your help. I don't need your advice. I was world champion for 406 consecutive days. And MVP goes, focus on the word was. He gives him his card, and he walks away. Intriguing. Very intriguing.
I fucking love this because I feel like this could go separate ways, but I kind of want MJF in the Hurt Syndicate now. I never even thought of that as an option. Now that's all I want in life. I don't think it's going to lead to him being in the group. I feel like this is going to fully lead to like a Hurt Syndicate full-on face turn because they're too popular not to turn face. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're going to do what they do. Whatever. That being said, I fucking love this. I want more MVP and MJF on my screen. It's the only. It was funny because it was like my initial thought was like, oh, so MJF is trying to buy. MVP is trying to buy MJF's soul. I laughed at that.
Right.
And I popped myself. He's like, he came out and tried to get his soul with the card, and I have no problem with it. I fucking loved it because it was just, it felt like stakes. And MJF is on a losing streak right now. MJF is not the guy, not the guy that we've known him to be. So presenting it that way, I sign me up. Sign me all the way up. Yeah, I was like, oh my God. And so, but yes, doing the Hurt People song and MJF coming out with them. Someone posted a picture of one of the late stages of Nation Domination, and Owen Hart was in the Nation of Domination with The Rock, and he would come out with this big group of giant black men, and it was hilarious. So this would be just as hilarious.
Yeah, I think that would be funny. Max Caster had his open challenge. He got killed this time by Konosuke Takeshita. Funny part about it was when he's like, there's no way you're out here to fight me. I'm the best wrestler alive. I'd kill you. What are we doing here? Just his tone in that was just funny. It made me laugh. But yeah, Takeshita killed Max Caster this week. So we'll see who kills Max Caster next week.
No, I've been talking about for a while. We need a wrestler like this. One move and they knock you out. I've thrown this out there. And since, sometimes ears listen, dude, Will Hobbs' finisher should be a chin lock. I just want to throw that out there. It would be funny. He just puts you in a chin lock and you're out. But, yes, forearm right to the head, 1, 2, 3. Max has been perfect in this. I want to give Max Caster so much credit for this.
Yeah, there you go. Chris Jericho was holding Gravity's mask backstage, talking about how the temperature in the room has changed, hasn't it, Bandito? Because I stole your brother's mask. I made your mother cry in front of you, Bandito. How do you come back from that knowing the disappointment she has for you? Your life has changed forever, Bandito, because of me. So that was Chris Jericho's little promo. And then we moved right into Penelope Ford wrestling Willow fucking Nightingale. Let's go, our girl. Loved seeing her back wrestling on the show. She, before solid match, I think did some really good stuff. Good win for Willow Nightingale. And then that's when she jumped Willow with a steel chair after the loss. Chris Statlander comes to get Penelope Ford, and that's when Megan Bayne shows up again to blindside both of them and continues to be putting people on notice. And this is good. I thought this was pretty good. Nice match between Ford and Nightingale.
Yes. It's pretty cool is that Willow and Chris Statlander are going to get back together. It's great. Now, I got to say this. I mean, they're going to do it. I don't think AEW needs too many belts. But why do them getting back together if there's no AEW Women's Tag Title? What are they getting back together for?
Yeah, I don't know.
Now, I'm just asking, like, really, as a fan, it's like, I'm supposed to be happy these two women are going to be friends again. But why? So they can win this one match, so they can be friends. I'm just like, it's not. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm asking, as a fan, why should I care? As a fan of Willow, why should I care? Because I want Willow going after the TBS title. I want her going after the world title. Shit, the ROH Women's World title, ROH TV title, whatever. I want Willow to be a champion. I want Willow to be a champion. I don't really care about her being friends with Chris anymore. Chris turned her back on her. Screw her forever. I would like them to get back together, win their match, and right after the match, Willow just fucking destroys Chris Statlander, and like, I didn't forget. Because there's no, what's the point of forgiveness in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was just thought. This is me just thinking out loud on the podcast.
I feel you. Mercedes Moné was then interviewed backstage. Her throat was genuinely messed up, it seemed like, from her getting kicked in the throat. Billy Starks, who was taking notes during her match against Momo, talked about how you've accomplished a lot here, but I've accomplished a lot. I won the first ever women's TV title in Ring of Honor when I was only 19. And he said, both of us, wrestling is our life, and I'm going to look to change into a champion, to which Mercedes says she's way out of her league, but I'm going to prove that there's a price to pay when you mess with Mercedes Moné next week.
Dude, no one cares about Mercedes versus Billy. Oh, excuse me. I say no one. There is an amount of Billy Stark fans out there that care, and there are Mercedes, all her fans care when she performs. But in general, that no one cares about this match. Everyone cares what this match is leading to. And it's like, I was so excited. Because, first of all, Mercedes needs a feud. She needs a feud. When she's been doing this match of the week type, match of the month type thing, she needs a multi-month heated feud.
She had a good one with Harley Cameron. That was a nice little thing for her. But after her with Willow, after her, like, in Harley, like, get Athena on the damn roster and let's go.
Yeah, let's build to a big match. Let's get some heated promos. Let's get some jumping each other. Title for title in Texas. Let's fucking go. This is like foreplay. Everything that Mercedes has done, no matter how great on your scale, has been foreplay for one match. One match.
Mm-hmm.
The streak that has been built. I mean, seriously. I mean, I can't say a lot great about ROH. I love all the wrestlers on there, but honestly, show most of the time is skippable. The best part of ROH for the last 2 years is Athena. The thing that Tony Khan can put his stamp on, when people are like, why do you have ROH? He can say Athena. Because he has built this record. He has built her as this unbeatable monster. Let's fucking go. Let's do something with it.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Let's go.
We then had an in-ring promo with Will Ospreay. And I love this fucking promo. He talked about, like, you know, he got a scar over his head. He's like, I don't know where this came from. It looks like I got stabbed. He lifts up his shirt and shows his tape around his stomach. He goes, I made it out Sunday alive, but the scariest bit was Kyle Fletcher at that age. I was struggling to keep up with him. And one day Fletcher's going to be world champion, and I hope we meet once again, and I can still say that I'm the better man. But he goes, guys, listen. I lied to my wife about the cage match. Listen, I know, hear me out. She was happy I won the match, but then, you know, a lot going through my head when I was on top of the cage. And it was like, I was looking around the crowd. There's this one guy who was looking at me like, don't die, don't die, don't die. And then, like, he talks all about this stuff. And she it's like, listen, all this thing, like, you jumped, like, she asked him not to do anything stupid. He did the stupid thing, and he's like, you jumped off the flipping cage. And he charmed his way out of it. But he said, listen, he wants to be the guy, and to be the guy, there should be something around his waist. But next week, Cope's got his title match, and then Dynasty, Swerve has his title shot. So when does he call his shot? Because it makes him wonder when it matters most. Everyone starts chanting All In. He looks up at the banner, and he wants to be in the main event of All In Texas. The only way he can get there is by entering the Owen Hart tournament. He's going through everyone who stands in his way. If it's Moxley, the King, and he cuts an amazing promo there as he goes, and I'm Will Ospreay. I want to be the world champion. My name is Will Ospreay. I am on another level.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know when the Owen starts. I don't know starts either. Because All In is earlier this year, right?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
So it's gonna have to be in June. So I'm like, is they gonna do the Calgary thing? Because
normally it finishes at Double or Nothing.
Yes. So it still might finish at Double or Nothing, but yeah. So whatever. Now last year it finished at the Calgary show.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so, again, I don't know. It's going to move everything up, but it's like, we're declaring for the Owen now? Whatever. I don't know. This is very confusing as far as that part. But the rest of the thing was just Will Ospreay being Will. This is Will Ospreay. Like, if you're going to be like, okay, you can show amazing matches, you can show this, and he can cut a fiery promo. But when Will Ospreay is at his default, this is him. He is a very silly, funny man. And my friend was like, they didn't like the promo. I was like, you know what Ospreay is? He's that guy in the bar that's telling the story, and he's laughing at his own jokes after every sentence. Because he knows how it ends before you do. And he's like, he's cracking himself up. And he's hoping you catch up. So that's what this promo was. And it was like, yeah, it was like, if you don't know that that's the Will Ospreay experience, I could see you not really getting this gimmick. You know what I mean? Like getting him cutting this promo and stuff. But in essence, he's coming for the world title. He wants the main event All In, which is great because you see Jay White wants the world title. Cope wants the world title. Swerve wants the world title. Will Ospreay wants the world title. That is what a world title should be.
Yeah.
I mean, when there is no definitive, this is who you're feuding with right now, it should be everybody wants the title. Everybody wants the spot.
Jay White was another one. He immediately popped in there, wanted to be number one contender as well.
This might be the most star-studded freaking Owen Hart Cup ever. And I challenge Tony Khan. All Thriller, no filler. I don't want one guy in here where you're like, oh, that guy's losing. I want it to be like MJF, Will Ospreay, Swerve. I want it to be nothing but the top guys. So when the guy does win it, you feel like he has 100% earned it, and we can go into All In.
Yeah, I'm right there with you there. Yeah. Quick little moment with Hangman and MJF backstage where Hangman talks about how you really tried to light me on fire last week, and I don't believe you because when you do something like that, you have to really mean it. And you let the mask slip Sunday, and I was right. You do care what these people think about you. And MJF said, like, I'm going to call your bluff because you're on your high horse because you beat me. Because here's what happens next. I go on to be one of the greatest of all time. You'll go and scratch and claw your way all the way up to the mountain, and then you'll just come tumbling all the way down. And when your mask slips, I notice your big insecurity is that you don't think you deserve their love. And you're right, because they're going to be sick and tired of waiting for you to win that world title. But I will be laughing my way up that mountain. And Paige goes, we'll see. And closing moment of that, we go into the main event, the International Championship Eliminator Tournament. Another match, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy versus Hechicero. I will say it, Hechicero got fucking robbed. That man wrestled so good.
Hey,
I was like,
I just want a man in a mask to be able to win in AEW.
I know, but like,
that's not named Hologram.
That man wrestled so goddamn good, and I was just like, I know Orange Cassidy's gonna win, but like, holy shit, Hechicero, shouts out to you, sir. I would have loved it if you won this match. but you weren't beating Orange Cassidy. You just weren't. But I say he was robbed. That's all I can say. It was a good match. I hope Hechicero gets more matches on Dynamite. I really, really liked how he did. And honestly, out of the CMLL guys that have shown up, he's been the one that's really stuck out for me, I feel like, recently. And yeah, this was good. I want to see more of that. There was one point where Cassidy wasn't able to kip up at one point, which was a little bit of a mess, but that was about it. It was still a really good match, a nice closer to Dynamite. That was honestly kind of a skip for the most part. It was very talky. It had a lot of promos. There was nice little sets up for the most part, but for a show that followed a pay-per-view like Revolution this past Sunday, it was just kind of setting up the tournament, and that was kind of it for the most part.
Absolutely. This was a Dynamite that, okay. I won't even say this. I can accept these episodes of Dynamite when I've gotten the last 7 weeks of Dynamite.
Correct.
So you have one of these episodes. It's the pay-per-view, show after pay-per-view. You're setting up going towards the next show and the next pay-per-view. Yes. I mean, there were stakes in these matches, the Eliminator matches. You set up the new feud. You apparently brought out Tony Storm's newest person. There was a lot of pieces that got him put apart. Like, so if you're a hardcore fan or a fan of AEW and you needed this show for next week to keep up with the stories, but I can see if you're one of those people that dip your toe in and dip your toe out, how you might have skipped this episode.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what we got there. Moving forward, obviously we're going to have Collision in Las Vegas this weekend on Saturday. The matches that we have for that show, FTR will be facing Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong of the Undisputed Kingdom. We're going to have our 2 singles International Championship Eliminator Tournament, which is Katsuyori Shibata versus Ricochet and Mark Davis versus Mark Briscoe. Also, on the Ring of Honor tapings, too, you're going to get a lot of Lucha Libre wrestling on the show, too, with Atlantis Jr., and then a few other guys as well, Dark Panther, Okamura.
Yeah, Okamura.
Yeah. So you're gonna get a lot of Lucha Libre, obviously, because they're in Vegas, and like we said, you see a lot more masks when you're near the border of Mexico for AEW shows. So you're gonna get that for Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And then for Dynamite next week, obviously the street fight for the World Championship rematch between Moxley and Cope, and then the 4-way between Orange Cassidy, Speedball Mike Bailey, and then whoever wins those 2 matches in the singles matches.
And they did say Mercedes versus Starks next week, didn't they?
Mercedes versus Starks. Yep.
Okay. Well. Yeah, it wasn't on their little thing, but I was like,
it will be there though. They said next week. Yep. So
yeah, and then, it's the most match I'm most excited about. Probably going to be the main event of the show. FTR versus Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. I remember the FTR and FTR, Jay White, and Juice Robinson match really defined early Collision, and I'm hoping we can get back to that. Hopefully a lot of tag teams getting featured on Collision. I'm down for that. And I don't know, did you notice the Murder Machines is kind of, they were supposed to fight the Hurt Business next, and it was just kind of, no one really said anything about it. I know the whole thing with MVP, but I hope they come back to that. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, even if you just do it on Collision, you can just get back to that for sure. And yeah, that's everything we got there. There's only a couple quick little headlines, Floyd, you can hit, and then we'll get out of here.
This is. I had problems finding stuff. Speedball, Mike Bailey got his graphic. He is all elite, and it looks like the Outrunners are all a full time because they're on the AEW roster page now. Turbo Floyd, it's going down. Their AEW world is only big enough for one Floyd, and I was here first. Period.
There you go. Period. End of story. That is going to do it on this episode of All Things Elite. Appreciate you guys sticking with the whole show. We know it was longer because of everything we had to get to with Revolution, but yeah, we had to get to everything because holy shit, that show was stacked, even if the ending wasn't what people were hoping for. But thanks, guys, for tuning into All Things Elite. We appreciate the support. If you enjoy the show, continue to download it on YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you choose to listen to us. Just give us a share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. Rate, review, subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Follow us on Twitter at ATElitePod. Also follow at Social Suplex, who make this show possible, and check out all the other shows they've got on their network. I am at Austin Sumowicz, SZUMOWICZ, and Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. I'm about to pass out into my bed right now because we are recording this super late. And I will give it off to Floyd, who can take us home on this episode of actually, no. One last thing, real quick. Before we take it home on this All Things Elite, both of us saw Queen of the Ring. We needed to mention that real quick. Both of us saw Queen of the Ring. I actually just saw it today.
Floyd just saw it yesterday. So
yeah, Floyd just saw it yesterday. Really good movie. Honestly, really enjoyed it. It's no Iron Claw personally, but I'm not trying to compare these movies.
I was about to say I actually enjoyed this movie and not Iron Claw, which I felt like
Iron Claw. For you
I was depressed.
Can actually rewatch Queen. You can't watch Iron Claw.
Well, I was depressed. No, I thought it was an amazing show, movie. I thought the Josh Lucas performance was amazing. Yeah. I thought the Francesca Eastwood was amazing. She played Mae Young.
Yes, her specifically. Oh my God!
I think she got all the good shit because she kind of stole every scene that she was in, which was awesome. Thought Toni Storm was great.
She had less speaking parts than Camille did.
Yeah, Camille. Because Camille was like the big bad at the end.
The big bad, yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Camille was the big bad, and she was perfect in that role. I had not heard Camille speak a lot, so I didn't realize she was Southern. Like, she has an accent.
She does.
She does. I did not realize that about her. No, I just thought everyone did their job in this movie so well. You hated the right people. Even a shout out to Jim Cornette. I know I'm not allowed to do that. We're all supposed to hate him forever, but I thought he was good at the part that he did.
He fits so well.
And I think he was the only cast member that had met literally everyone in that.
Genuinely.
Yeah. So because he's been in wrestling forever, but I thought he played his part really, really well. As an African American man with 8 sisters, I find period pieces a little difficult to watch, but I did really enjoy this movie.
Yeah, they're very, very good. It's got a 75% rating on Rotten Tomatoes as we speak right now, so it is fresh. Enjoy it. Definitely. It's not going to be in theaters for very long, I think. So, but when it comes out on DVD or physical media or whatever, watch this movie. It's very good. I especially love the final match itself. I thought the presentation of the last match was great. And, I thought it was really, really well done. And
then they did a really good job sticking to the old style of wrestling.
They did, yes.
Because sometimes when you see older wrestling movies, they'll bust out a Hurricane Rana, and they'll be like, no one did that.
Yeah. I mean, just the simple stuff of them locking up and then breaking the lock up immediately. Yes. Like that's classic ass shit.
So Emily Bett Rickards, one of my favorites. She was part of Arrow, which is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. So it's cool that when I see it, there's Josh Segarra, Stephen Amell, Emily Bett Rickards, all from one of my favorite shows that all seem to love wrestling too. And the dude to play George's Gorge was pretty good.
Oh yeah, he was good too.
Yeah.
And then of course too, I will mention real quick. I believe the girl, she was the one who played Babs Wingo, the one who was at Revolution, who made the comment of, "One thing I learned about wrestlers, y'all know you're gonna win before we do." I was just like, "Honey, what? Did you just what?"
This is what I'm gonna say. She misspoke. She obviously got lost in her words. She's an actress. She's used to other people writing her words, right? No, just a joke. But no, I didn't. I mean, hey, she just said at a wrestling show where everyone knows it's not real that it's not real.
Like, listen,
what's the big deal?
The person who was the people that were going like they just shot kayfabe in the back, motherfucker. The Rock went out talking about I love playing the bad guy on the post show. Frankly, let's not even act like this, okay?
Dude, they go out.
Kayfabe has been dead in the back since the fucking 90s.
They go out and have dinners together. They do this, and the people that are really focused on it, they try to stick to it on the outside. But I mean, we know this. We're watching a show. It's just the thing that to me that keeps wrestling in the backwoods. You know, like it's
People like you, motherfuckers. It's you're the ones that do it.
Yeah, it's a show. We all know it's a show. Get the fuck over yourself. Okay.
But yeah, I totally forgot about that. I had to mention that though, but I just went through the whole spiel though. Thanks again, guys, for watching the show, for listening to the podcast. Go see Queen of the Ring if you get the chance. It's a good movie. You should definitely see it. You'll enjoy yourselves. And then with all that out of the way, I will let Floyd take us on with this episode of All Things Elite.
I'm going to keep this very short. In daylight savings time, that shit is stupid. With that, I leave you how I always leave you. Whether it is home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite.
Your old or broken phone can let you down when you need it most. Perfect. But at Verizon, trade in any old phone from our top brands and get the most for it, up to $2,000 in value, for an amazing new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence and a new line on My Plan, and iPad and Apple Watch Series 10. That's like a 3-for-1. And you can get it on any plan. At Verizon, trade in your old phone for a brand new iPhone 16 Pro, iPad, and Apple Watch. The other guys won't give you that. Visit Verizon.com today. Additional terms apply. Service plan required for Apple Watch and iPad. Up to $2,000 value based on iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch.